This is the section of midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus. And in a cross section, midbrain can be divided into three parts from ventral to dorsal: crus cerebri, tegmentum, and tectum. Crus cerebri is separated from tegmentum by a pigmented sheet of neuron that is known as substantia nigra. This is the tegmentum, white part. Tegmentum and tectum, the dorsal part of the midbrain, they are separated by an imaginary line which passes through cerebral aqueduct. An imaginary line passing through cerebral aqueduct separates tegmentum and tectum. So these are the three parts of midbrain in a cross section. We already discussed that crus cerebri, it contains corticospinal, corticonuclear, and corticopontine fibers. In the middle two-third, it contains corticospinal and corticonuclear fibers. In medial one-sixth, it contains frontopontine fibers, and in lateral one-sixth, it contains temporopontine fibers as well as parietopontine and occipitopontine fibers. Then behind the crus cerebri, this is the pigmented sheet of neuron that is known as substantia nigra. Substantia nigra, will briefly see that it is concave dorsally and convex ventrally. Dorsally it consists of a compact zone that is known as pars compacta. Ventral part is reticular or diffuse that is known as pars reticularis. Pars reticularis primarily receives efferents from corpus striatum, caudate nucleus, and putamen. These are known as the strionigral fibers. From the corpus striatum to substantia nigra, they are rich in gamma aminobutyric acid. And pars compacta, it gives efferents to again corpus striatum in the form of nigrostriate fibers, which are rich in dopamine. Okay. After the substantia nigra, this is the tegmentum of midbrain. Okay, this canal is the central canal or cerebral aqueduct or aqueduct of Sylvius. It is surrounded by gray matter that is known as central gray matter or periaqueductal gray matter. At the level of inferior colliculus, we can see it presents nuclear complex of trochlear nerve, which is actually single nucleus. So we will say nucleus of the trochlear nerve. Okay, so this is the periaqueductal gray matter. This is the central canal. So in the floor of the periaqueductal gray matter, or we can say ventral part of the periaqueductal gray matter at the level of inferior colliculus, contains the trochlear nucleus. This trochlear nucleus, it gives rise to fibers of the trochlear nerve which pass, which dorsomedially like this within the periaqueductal gray matter medial to this nucleus, that is the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. What is important is that fibers of the trochlear nerve, they decussate with the fibers of the opposite nerve in the roof of the fourth ventricle, that is in the superior medullary velum just below the inferior colliculus, and emerge on either side of the frenulum veli. So that is the first feature in the periaqueductal gray matter, that is the trochlear nucleus in the ventral part or the floor of the periaqueductal gray matter. Okay. Lateral part of the periaqueductal gray matter presents a very important nucleus, that is the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Okay. This is the mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. It extends in the entire length of the midbrain. As we know, the mesencephalic nucleus, it consists of collection of unipolar neurons, first order sensory neurons, and it receives proprioceptive senses from the trigeminal nerve as well as from other cranial nerves. So this is a very important nucleus, mesencephalic nucleus. Okay, in the floor, trochlear nucleus; in the lateral wall, mesencephalic nucleus. After that, there are few extra nuclei that we should look at. This is the nucleus of Dark-Squist or Dark-Squist nucleus. This Dark-Squist nucleus, it lies dorsolateral to the trochlear nucleus. Okay, dorsolateral to the trochlear nucleus lies the Dark-Squist nucleus. There is another nucleus that is known as interstitial nucleus of Kegel. Okay, this is the interstitial nucleus of Kegel, which lies outside the periaqueductal gray matter and ventral to or ventrolateral to the dark squeeze nucleus. Okay, so there are two additional nuclei. One is the dark squeeze nucleus, which is within the periaqueductal gray matter, dorsolateral to trochlear nucleus. Other one is the interstitial nucleus of Kegel, which lies outside the periaqueductal gray matter, ventrolateral to the dark squeeze nucleus. Okay. On the dorsal aspect of the trochlear nucleus, there is another nucleus that is known as dorsal tegmental nucleus. It is also known as supratrochlear nucleus because it lies just dorsal to trochlear nucleus. So at this point there is presence of the dorsal tegmental nucleus outside the periaqueductal gray matter and slightly ventral to medial longitudinal fasciculus. Here there is presence of ventral tegmental nucleus. Okay, so dark squeeze nucleus, interstitial nucleus of Kegel, dorsal tegmental nucleus and ventral tegmental nucleus. This dorsal and ventral tegmental nucleus, they are part of midbrain reticular formation. Dark squeeze nucleus is important as it contributes fibers to the posterior commissure, and the interstitial nucleus of Kegel, it gives fibers to the medial longitudinal fasciculus. So these are the nuclei present in the periaqueductal gray matter and around it at the level of inferior colliculus. Okay, are you following this? Hello. Okay, if I get muted, please inform me. Okay. Anyway, so this is the group of nuclei. I hope you all understand. Dark squeeze nucleus, posterior commissure, interstitial nucleus of Kegel, medial longitudinal fasciculus, dorsal and ventral tegmental nuclei, brainstem reticular formations. Very simple. After this nuclear complex, the tegmentum, we can see here lemniscal system. From medial to lateral, there is medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus, spinal lemniscus, and lateral lemniscus. Lateral lemniscus, this is the inferior colliculus. So as we know, it joins the inferior colliculus. It projects fibers to the inferior colliculus. From the inferior colliculus, these auditory fibers, they pass through inferior brachium and they project to medial geniculate body. From here, they are projected to auditory cortex, area 41 and 42. Within the central core lies the central tegmental tract. The central tegmental tract, as we know, it contains descending fibers from the red nucleus and periaqueductal gray matter to inferior olivary nucleus. And there are few ascending fibers from the lower brainstem reticular formation to intralaminar nucleus of thalamus. So that is the central tegmental tract. Close to the midline, this is the arrangement. As we know, from dorsal to ventral, there is medial longitudinal fasciculus, tectospinal tract, and rubrospinal tract. Medial longitudinal fasciculus, tectospinal tract, and rubrospinal tract. The most important feature at this level, at the level of inferior colliculus, is this, that is the decussation of superior cerebellar peduncle. This is very important feature at this level. As we can see, decussation of superior cerebellar peduncle takes place close to the midline in the ventral part of the tegmentum, dorsal to medial part of substantia nigra. Okay, dorsal to medial part of substantia nigra close to midline. There is decussation of the superior cerebellar peduncle. These fibers are from the cerebellar nuclei, nucleus globosus, nucleus emboliformis, and dentate nucleus. After decussation, the fibers, they divide into ascending and descending fibers. Ascending fibers, they project to ventrolateral nucleus of thalamus and red nucleus. Descending fibers, they project to lower brainstem reticular formation and olivary nuclear complex. And there are few ipsilateral fibers which are not crossing, and they descend. These fibers descend and they project to lower brainstem reticular formation of the medulla oblongata and pons. Okay, so important thing is that these are the fibers from the nucleus globosus, nucleus emboliformis, and the dentate nucleus. These fibers, majority of the fibers after crossing, they project to ventral lateral nucleus of thalamus and to red nucleus. That you should remember. So these are the features in the section of the midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus. This is the decussation of the superior cerebellar peduncle. What is the location? It is close to midline, dorsal to the medial part of the substantia nigra. And as we know, the fiber superior cerebellar peduncle, it extends along the dorsolateral aspect of the bones, and they plunge into tegmentum of midbrain, and the fibers, they decussate with the fibers of the opposite side. These are the fibers from the cerebellar nuclei, nucleus globosus, emboliformis, and dentate nucleus. Majority of the cross fibers, they are projected to, this is at the level of inferior colliculus. So these fibers, they ascend and they project to red nucleus and ventral lateral nucleus of thalamus. There are few descending fibers. Okay, descending fibers, they terminate into the reticular nuclei of lower brainstem, that is the reticular formation of pons and medulla, and into the inferior olivary nuclear complex. At the same time, there are few uncrossed ascending fibers. Fibers of the superior cerebellar peduncle, they ascend uncrossed, and these fibers, they project to midbrain reticular formation and periaqueductal gray matter. Okay, uncrossed fibers to midbrain reticular formation and periaqueductal gray matter. Cross ascending fibers to red nucleus, ventral lateral nucleus of the thalamus, and cross descending fibers to the lower brainstem reticular formation and inferior olivary nuclear complex. Section of midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. Here you can see crus cerebri, substantia nigra, cerebral aqueduct or aqueduct of Sylvius, surrounded by periaqueductal gray matter. In the lateral wall, again there is mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. In the floor or in the ventral part of the periaqueductal gray matter, there is oculomotor nuclear complex. This is not a single nucleus, this is a nuclear complex because it is actually consists of multiple nuclei. Okay, there is dorsolateral nucleus, intermediate nucleus, ventromedial nucleus, caudal central nucleus, as well as there is a median raphe nucleus. So there is a oculomotor nuclear complex, and these different nuclei, they supply different muscle. For example, dorsolateral nucleus supplies inferior rectus muscle. Intermediate nucleus supplies the inferior oblique muscle. But there is no need to remember the subdivision of oculomotor nuclear complex. We can just simply mention that in the floor, in the ventral part of the periaqueductal gray matter lies the oculomotor nuclear complex, which consists of different subgroups, different nuclei, and each subgroup supplies specific muscle. What is important is to mention the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. As we know, the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, it lies along the dorsal aspect of the dorsolateral nucleus, or you can say along the dorsal aspect of the oculomotor nuclear complex, okay, where the cursor is. And this nucleus, Edinger-Westphal nucleus, is very important as it gives origin to preganglionic parasympathetic fibers which supply sphincter pupillae and ciliaris muscle. So very important nucleus, Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Okay, so in the periaqueductal gray matter at the level of superior colliculus, there is oculomotor nuclear complex and mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve. In addition to this, again there is dark squeeze nucleus lying dorsolateral to the oculomotor nucleus. There is interstitial nucleus of Kegel which lies outside the periaqueductal gray matter, ventrolateral to the dark squeeze nucleus. You will find dorsal tegmental nucleus lying dorsal to the oculomotor nuclear complex, as well as there is ventral tegmental nucleus which lies outside the periaqueductal gray matter, ventral to medial longitudinal fasciculus. There is one in the ventrolateral part of the periaqueductal gray matter. in this part, there is one track that is known as dorsal longitudinal fasciculus. Okay, it is present in the entire length of the midbrain at the level of inferior colliculus as well as at the level of superior colliculus. So where the cursor pointer is in the ventrolateral part close to the cerebral aqueduct, there is a tract that is known as dorsal longitudinal fasciculus, DLF, dorsal longitudinal fasciculus of skulls, dorsal longitudinal fasciculus of skulls. This is the very important tract as it contains ascending and descending fibers extending between the hypothalamic region and the reticular nuclei of brainstem, including the tegmental, dorsal and ventral tegmental nuclei. So when you mention periaqueductal gray matter, in addition to this, all these nuclei, do mention dorsal longitudinal fasciculus of skulls. After the nuclear complex, again here you will find the lemniscal system, medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus and spinal lemniscus. But there is no lateral lemniscus because it has plunged, it has merged in the inferior colliculus. So this is section is at the level of superior colliculus. So there is no lateral lemniscus here, but it is you will find a very important nucleus, a pretectal nucleus at this level which lies ventral to superior colliculus. This pretectal nucleus is very important. It projects fibers to bilaterally to both Edinger-Westphal nucleus and it is concerned with the direct and consensual light reflex. Okay, so superior colliculus, pretectal nucleus, the lemniscal system. Here in the central core, there is central tegmental tract. Now, at the level of inferior colliculus, there is decussation of the superior cerebellar peduncles. But the most important feature in this section of midbrain at the level of superior colliculus is the presence of red nucleus. Red nucleus, it is an ovoid nuclear mass. It is about 5 millimeter in transverse diameter. It lies in the tegmentum close to midline and dorsal to medial part of substantia nigra. Close to midline, dorsal to medial part of the substantia nigra. This is the red nucleus. It is called red nucleus because when freshly cut, it is pinkish gray in color. It is surrounded by a capsule of white matter, which are actually fibers of the superior cerebellar peduncle, okay, from the cerebellar nuclei. Before projecting it to the neurons of the red nucleus, they surround the red nucleus, forming a capsule of white matter around it. As it is red in color, pinkish in color, we can understand that the neurons, they are rich in iron content. They are rich in iron. Now the red nucleus, it consists vertically. It extends from the level of superior colliculus to the subthalamic region. So if you take a section to the floor of the third ventricle, you will find upper end of the red nucleus as well as substantia nigra. So vertical extent of red nucleus is very important to remember that it extends from the level of superior colliculus to the subthalamic region. Now, red nucleus consists of, like the substantia nigra, pars compacta, pars reticularis. Similarly, red nucleus is consists of caudal magnocellular part and rostral parvocellular part. There is lower part, caudal part, magnocellular part, and rostral parvocellular part. As the name suggests, the caudal part, magnocellular, it consists of large multipolar neurons, whereas the rostral cranial parvocellular part, it consists of small multipolar neurons. Secondly, caudal magnocellular part is phylogenetically older. It is old in phylogeny, whereas the rostral parvocellular part is recent in phylogeny. Okay. Efferents of the red nucleus. So it mainly receives fibers from the cerebellar nuclei which reach midbrain through the superior cerebellar peduncle. They undergo decussation. So as these fibers they project after decussation, red nucleus receives fibers from the opposite nucleus globosus, nucleus emboliformis and dentate nucleus from the opposite cerebellar hemisphere. These fibers, again fibers from the nucleus globosus and emboliformis, they project to the caudal magnocellular part, phylogenetically older part, whereas the fibers from the dentate nucleus, they project to the rostral parvocellular part, which is recent in phylogeny. In addition to these fibers from the cerebellar nuclei, red nucleus also receives some direct fibers from the motor cortex, area 4 and 6. These are known as corticorubral fibers. Then there are few fibers from the globus pallidus, which are known as pallidorubular fibers, and few fibers from the superior colliculus, that is known as tectorubral fibers. So these are the efferents, incoming fibers of the red nucleus. Cerebellorubral from the cerebellar nuclei, corticorubral, pallidorubular, and tectorubral fibers. Efferents of the red nucleus, as we all know, these fibers, they cross with the fibers of the opposite side in the ventral tegmental decussation. This is known as ventral tegmental decussation of Forel. Ventral tegmental decussation of Forel, which lies in the ventral part of the midbrain tegmentum. So efferents from the red nucleus, they decussate with the fibers of the opposite side close to midline in the ventral tegmental decussation of Forel. After decussation, the fibers, they descend as rubrospinal, rubroreticular, and rubrobulbar fibers. There are few fibers, uncrossed fibers, which project to the inferior olivary nuclear complex, and these fibers, they pass through central tegmental tract. And there are few fibers which project to the thalamic nuclei, mainly the ventral lateral nucleus of the thalamus. So that will be known as rubrothalamic fibers. So rubro-olivary and rubrothalamic are very few fibers, but the main efferents of the red nucleus, they decussate in the ventral part of the tegmentum, ventral tegmental decussation of Forel, and they descend as rubrospinal, rubroreticular, and rubrobulbar tracts. Another decussation in the tegmentum is the dorsal tegmental decussation, decussation of the tectospinal tract. So this is the superior colliculus. Okay, superior colliculus. It, as we know, it receives fibers from the retina as the retinotectal fibers. It also receives few fibers from the visual association cortex, corticorubular fibers from the inferior colliculus, and there are spinotectal fibers from the spinal cord. These are all for the visual reflexes. What is important, that the efferent fibers arising from the superior colliculus, they decussate with the fibers of the opposite side close to the midline, ventral to medial longitudinal fasciculus. And this is still in the dorsal part of the tegmentum. So this decussation is known as dorsal tegmental decussation of Maynard. Dorsal tegmental decussation of Maynard. This is ventral tegmental decussation of Forel. This is dorsal tegmental decussation of Maynard. After decussation, these fibers, they descend as tectospinal tract. Okay, tectospinal tract. Then there are few tectobulbar fibers along with this, which project to the nuclei, cranial nerve nuclei of the third, fourth, and the sixth nerve, and other cranial nerves as well. There are few tectopontine fibers also, which, as the name suggests, project to the nuclei pontis in the pons, and again few tectothalamic fibers for reflex purposes, and these fibers, they are projected to the pulvinar end of the thalamus and lateral geniculate body. So that is about the superior colliculus and the tectospinal tract. Okay, so that is a complete section of midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. Again, I quickly revise. This is the crus cerebri, substantia nigra, lemniscal system consisting of medial lemniscus, trigeminal lemniscus, spinal lemniscus, cerebral aqueduct surrounded by periaqueductal gray matter with the oculomotor nuclear complex in the ventral part, in the lateral wall, mesencephalic nucleus of trigeminal nerve, dorsal to oculomotor nucleus, dorsal tegmental nucleus, outside it, ventral tegmental nucleus, ventral to medial longitudinal fasciculus, dorsolaterally dark squeeze nucleus, outside the periaqueductal gray matter, ventrolateral to it, interstitial nucleus of Kegel. On the ventral surface of the superior colliculus, there is pretectal nucleus, which projects bilaterally to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. and very important for the direct and consensual light reflex. Then red nucleus. This is the red nucleus, overt nuclear mass. Okay, and these are the decussation of the ventral tegmental decussation of foral, decussation of the rubrospinal tract, and this is the superior colliculus, and this is the decussation of the tectospinal tract or the dorsal tegmental decussation of Maynard. So this is the medial longitudinal fasciculus, this is tectospinal tract, and this is the rubrospinal tract. And once you have understood this, you will remember, always remember the position of these tracts in the